And thanks so much for your time. Disappointing display against Bournemouth. At the full-time whistle, there was the altercation between yourself and supporters. Just how frustrating is that, considering how much you're putting into this job right now?
You know, I don't hold that against the supporters. They're not happy, and you know, the ones I gather who travel to Bournemouth, you know, on a cold Thursday night are fairly hardcore supporters. So they weren't happy, rightly so, and they wanted to give feedback. Well, there's no better person than me to give it to, so I'm happy to take it on board. Do I like it? No. But ultimately, that's their right, and my job is to try and turn things around.
And what impact does that have on you when you get that direct feedback?
Yeah, as a human being, it's not nice. As a football manager, it's kind of, you understand that that's also part of your responsibility to make sure that you know, views and opinions are heard, whether you agree with them or not, and then endeavour to try and change it.
And not that you need moments like that, but does it make you even more resilient, even more determined to be successful here?
No, it doesn't motivate me anymore. I haven't lost my resolve or my determination to do what we set out to do, to bring success to the club. Nothing can stop me from that, to be honest. I've had enough in my career to know that along the way there's always going to be doubts, there's always going to be obstacles, challenges. The bigger they are, the better the story is at the end. So that's what drives me. I don't need any additional motivation.
What do you think has happened since that brilliant victory against Manchester City?
Look, I think it's a combination of things. We lost, you know, again, key personnel in a couple of those games. I mean, Vicario went down, we lost Dom last week, so with an already thin squad. But there has been this theme of us really conceding really sloppy goals in key moments, which is allowing oppositions to get into games that really we should never allow them to get into. And you know, we didn't do that against City, we didn't do that against United away, we didn't do it against Villa at home. Like, our wins this year have been pretty compelling. They haven't been sort of just getting over the line. But you know, that doesn't diminish the fact that we've been poor in other areas. What I can't do is maybe hold people accountable as much as I'd like to, because we don't have the squad to do that. I think competition for places, which, you know, keeps people on edge and gives them accountability, doesn't exist with us at the moment. So you've got to find other ways and you know, give the players a realisation that, you know, going to Bournemouth anytime is difficult. What you don't want to do is give them, you know, an opportunity to, as I said, play the game on their terms. Either that is the realisation for them, or I've got to find another way to make sure it sinks in. And
in terms of the setbacks you're suffering, in terms of players that are missing, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about that goal being sustained success at Spurs. How difficult is it to get towards that goal when you are suffering these setbacks, whether it be with those sloppy goals conceded, or more over the course of the last few weeks, those players missing?
I think you just, you know, again, it's a test of how committed you are to it, you know, because again, when these things happen, for the most part, they're usually kind of short-term, hopefully, obstacles and challenges if you overcome them. If you let them fester and you let them sort of become the whole focus of what you're doing, then yeah, you lose sight of what you're trying to achieve. And again, you go off course and you'll never get there. But I'm not going to let that happen. You know, I think that the ambition I have and the ambition we have as a football club won't change.
And a lot of the work between now and Sunday afternoon will be gearing the side up physically, patching them up to go again. But is there anything you need to do to gear them up mentally for Sunday?
I hope not. We're going to need a big performance on the weekend, because Chelsea are in great form, got a healthy squad, they can rotate players, and you know, Enzo's really got them, you know, got them going in the right direction. You can see that. So I'd like to think that motivation is the least of my concerns going into Sunday. I'd like to think that I'll have a motivated group of players.
The last match between Tottenham and Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will go down as a Premier League classic. It was great to watch it as a neutral. But what's your main emotion now looking back on that game?
Yeah, it's kind of mixed, because as yeah, proud as I was of the way we kind of embraced that challenge, I knew at the end of that game it was, I mean, we lost Van der Ven for a huge chunk, we lost Maddison for a huge chunk, we lost Romero for 4 games, we lost Destiny for 2 games. It was pretty much carnage after the game, so you kind of, as much as I took pride in kind of where we were going and there was a glimpse into the future for us, I kind of knew we got some big challenges after that game, and that's how it proved. Although to be fair to the players, we still kind of maintained a level of competitiveness, but that was kind of the beginning. So, I'd like to think we moved on from there, and whilst, recent sort of results over the last sort of 7 days haven't reflected that, I think previous to that, our good performances this year are certainly, were beyond what the levels we reached last year, and that's what we're going to try and get to.
Since that game, in terms of Premier League results, it's been 18 wins, 18 defeats, 8 draws. What do you read into that?
Pretty much what it says, that we haven't been able to maintain a level of consistent performance. Now, some of that, like I said last year, you've got to get into context that post that game, Chelsea, any team that loses 5 players significantly is going to get a blip in results. And we kind of limped towards the end of the season. I think this year's the disappointing one for me, because I just feel that I think every game we've lost by a goal. And while some of it, okay, we're thin on the ground in terms of personnel, I just think within those losses we've had, we certainly were good enough and should have been able to find a way to get a result in games where, again, we allowed the opposition to take control.
You suggested that the club could be active in January if the issues around availability are still there. The actual average age of signing since you've been at the club is under 22. Would you continue that in January, despite the fact that there may be a feel from the outside that maybe a stopgap, maybe more experienced players may be able to help you during this time?
Look, a lot of that's dictated by the market as well. January's a tricky one. So, as I keep saying, I'll always make the decisions I think are the best for this club to get sustained success, and some of that has been looking at the medium to long term, and I think they're the right decisions. I'll back those decisions. But like I said, with January, as you said, it'll be dependent on sort of where we are squad-wise and what's available. I'm not going to sort of try and just sign somebody who may alleviate some of the immediate sort of concerns for us unless I feel like it's going to help us in that long-term sort of or medium-term approach we need to have.
And still yet to beat either Chelsea or Arsenal, huge rivals for Spurs. How significant would it be to beat Chelsea on Sunday, or do you want to become more than just a moment side? Because we saw what happened against Manchester City a few weeks ago, but then what happened afterwards?
Yeah, I think that's the key. It's undoubted that in moments we're compelling for sure, but we've got to get beyond that. And having said that, like, it is a derby, and against a rival, but also a team that's challenging this year, and we need to show against those kind of teams, as we have already, that we can overcome that challenge.